Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation today. We got a lot to talk about. We got something very special for you guys this afternoon. So hopefully you guys are enjoying your tuna melt sandwich and getting ready for a very interesting and informative piece of information here and conversation that needs to happen today. We need to have this conversation because we need to find justice for this man, Jason Walker. A lot of us are wondering, what the hell is going on? What the hell happened here, right? What's going on? Was he hit by the car? Was he not hit by the car? Did he jump on the hood of the car? Did he pull off the windshield wipers and start beating the windshield with it? Did he deserve what he received? Sorry for the harsh question there, but did he? I think not. But we do have a lot of things to talk about. Jason Walker, if you guys don't know, 37-year-old man was walking across the street and he was allegedly hit by a truck. And the man behind that wheel of that truck was an off-duty officer by the name of Lieutenant Jeffrey Hash. What's interesting is that allegedly this young man, 37-year-old Jason Walker, got up and, from what people have said, tried to get away from the car, got up and tried to run away. And this off-duty officer had the audacity to get out of his car and shoot this young man 4 times in the back. Now, this is alleged. We still need to hear from forensics and ballistics, and we still need to hear autopsy reports and all that stuff. But this is what we know right now. This is the narrative, and this is the story that's being told out here. But what's very interesting, y'all, is that we have the lieutenant saying something completely different. The off-duty officer that shot Jason Walker. And of course, we've already listened to the 911 call that he made immediately after he shot this poor man in cold blood, in my personal opinion. Well, there's a lot of stuff that we got to talk about. There's some new information. I do have some very special people coming on to the show to talk about Jason Walker, speak on behalf of Jason Walker, because here's the thing. We're so used to the media, sometimes far right narratives out here that will sit there and try to say that this young man or this man is anything but a child of God. They'll call him everything under the sun, except who he was as a person. So I'm very lucky to have 2 individuals, hopefully 2 individuals. We were having a little bit of technical issues going into here, but hopefully I will have 2 individuals on here to talk about Jason Walker and who he was, what kind of man he was, what kind of person he was, and see if we have any other information. One of the main questions that I have down below that's in the title, and it's very real. Did Jason Walker and Lieutenant, or on administrative leave, on paid leave, Lieutenant Jeffrey Hash know each other? Did these 2 men actually know each other before this incident? Hopefully we can talk about that. Hopefully we will confirm or debunk that theory right here on the show today. So do me a favor, y'all. This is all I ask. It's very simple. For those y'all who are starting to file in, please hit that like button. Send those likes all the way up. Send all kinds of positivity to the show today. And also, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. All right? So crush that subscribe button. But anyway, we got to get into this. As we already know, this man, Jason Walker, was hit by a truck by an off-duty officer who ended up shooting Jason Walker in the back 4 times and didn't even bother to go to his aid. to help save his life. Not at all. He ran to his phone and called 911. So here's the thing, because everybody out here wants to say everything bad about Jason Walker or try to find bad things about Jason Walker, let's talk about the man himself. I am very lucky and very honored to have one of his childhood friends on the show today. All right. So please welcome Feliz Mosqueda to the show. Uh, Feliz, first off, I want to say thank you so much for being on. I really do appreciate you coming on. And I know that we have Matthew Whitted. He's trying to get on here right now, but he's having some technical difficulties. So hopefully he'll be on with us as well. But first off, I just wanted to say thank you for being here, stepping forward and talking on behalf of your friend Jason.
Yeah, we really appreciate you, because you didn't know him and you didn't have to take on the story, but you did. And we just felt like it was really important that people know we are doing things in the background. I've seen a lot of channels and they kind of come off harsh, like, what is North Carolina doing? What are people doing? We are doing things in the background. A lot of his friends and family are downtown every day protesting. They're trying to get answers from the officials. We are definitely demanding that charges be made immediately. And the family has been doing a lot of work in the background, hiring attorneys. And it's just people aren't seeing that we're not taking this lightly. And we are taking this as a murder. We are not taking this as any type of a random accident at all.
Yes. And I don't think a lot of people who are seeing this story, hearing this story, I mean, it's becoming extremely polarizing, obviously. Right now, we got a lot of people who are leaning heavy towards one side or the other because, they'll sit there and go, okay, we believe the cops, whatever the cops say, that's the truth. And then we got other people on the other side that will sit there and say, hey, the cops are not telling the full truth, right? So this the narrative right now is getting extremely fuzzy, right? Especially with all the information that we have out here, right? And the lack thereof information that we have out here. I also do have Matthew Whitted on the show. Hopefully he'll be on. You just saw him for a second there. He was there, so there there's a glimmer of hope. Hopefully he'll get his side figured out here, because we're trying to get him on, but we're having some issues getting him on, technical issues right now. So hopefully as soon as he gets on here, we'll bring him on. But he is also a friend of Jason Walker. And so I gotta ask you a few things about Jason. We got to know a little bit about Jason and who he is. But actually, before I do that, let me try to get Matthew back on here again.
Yeah, I messaged him as well.
Matthew,
And
are you with us? Can you hear us, Matthew? Still no. But okay, so he's still dealing with some stuff, but hopefully he'll get it figured out. But anyway, please tell me a little bit about. Please tell us a little bit about Jason Walker. What kind of person was he?
yeah, so when I was actually I was just hanging out for my Saturday. I was just running errands, and my mom, she told me that because we all live on the same street, so um I come from a military family, and I was born in another country. We had lived in different countries and states, but my family decided to buy their main home out of Fayetteville, and we all live on Bingham Drive, so we all live right beside each other. We had a lot of really good friends in his life, and that day, my mom, she couldn't get past that street. It was blocked off. She couldn't figure out why. And then there started showing up reports that somebody was shot. She had no idea, that it was him. And then I started getting people message me like, I think something happened, to Jason. I'm like, I don't think so, because I talk to him all the time. I'm thinking like everything's fine. And then I did get a call and they said that he was murdered. And I really couldn't believe it because he was just here, you know. I'm like, what happened? Because he's not into any type of trouble or anything. Like this whole story about he's possibly mentally ill or he's jumping on cars. First of all, when we heard that, we thought that sounded so ridiculous.
Hmm.
Um, this area where the incident is, let me describe for you that the street area, um, there's nothing there, you know. Oh, I see Matthew.
Right. Well, but yeah.
Yeah.
And do me a favor. Hey, Matthew. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
Can
And
you hear me?
I guess yes, you're starting to come in. Your audio is a little weird,
Okay.
but let me fix that really quick. Um, so
Okay.
Matthew, I know that we have childhood friend Felice on here. How do you know? How
Mhm.
did you know Matthew? I mean, how did you know Jason? How did you? What was the? How long have you known him, as well?
So I've known Jason for I say about the last 5 years. He was taking care of my grandfather, and he was actually with them for like the last years of his life. He was his caretaker. My granddad had Alzheimer's. So Jason had like residential inpatients that he would take care of, and my granddad was one of them. I spent my last moments with my granddad in Jason's home. My children have played with Jason's son, um, and the main thing like Margie was saying, the narrative that has been put out there is completely false. Um, this man is a caring person who spent his life helping other people. He even had racist tenants in there that he would take care of and treated them just as equally as he treated my grandfather. Um, just to kind of lay out how much my family respects Jason. When my grandfather did pass last December, at his funeral, Jason was really one of the only people to speak. None of the grandkids, none of the other children, we didn't speak, but Jason did, and that's how close he was with my granddad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I know
Wow. So you've known him for a good while, and the thing is that we already know that they're trying to villainize him, right? Make him seem like he
him.
was
Right.
unhinged, losing his mind and whatnot. Um, and this is such a strange. It's such a strange series of events, right? Now we've already heard some of the 911 call, right? Which I'll most likely be playing here again here on the show, so that we can just hear it again for all of us. But it is a weird series of events on how this man
Yeah.
was killed. Felice, go ahead, please.
I'd like to piggyback on that because keep in mind, Matthew is my cousin. So imagine Jason is family to us, you know, like he may not have known him, but that doesn't mean that my parents didn't know him. That doesn't mean that I didn't know him. He just happened to not really know him. He actually does know him, to be honest. We're getting older and we always hung out at my apartment when I started college and he was there. He just didn't realize that it was the same person because we were really young and he actually he knows him more than he thinks he knows him. He just didn't hang out with him as much as like
I
I
do. I
did.
mean, I
And
do remember Jason hanging out with Daddy back in the day too.
Wow.
yeah, he knows him.
But it's just
We
crazy
just
because he's at
happen to
my
be living
granddad's
in different
funeral.
cities.
Wait, sorry. One at a time. Felice, finish what you were saying. What did you just say?
Yeah, I was just saying that because we had lived in different cities, so that's the reason why he wouldn't hang out with him as much, but he always comes to visit me. So he's seeing him there, he's hanging out with him, he knows him, but he's not even realizing, like he's trying to say, when he went to take care of our family member, it was just a coincidence that it's going to be him, and then when he's realizing who it is, it's like, wow, like it's one of our own. It's not a caregiver, because keep in mind, other family was coordinating it, and they don't necessarily know him as much as some of the other family does, and they were saying caregiver, and then I'm like, oh, that's Jason. What are
Right.
you guys are coordinating with Jason,
Yeah.
like, so
Uh,
that was really cool.
Felice, can you do me a favor really quick? Do you mind logging out and logging back in? Your audio is really, really choppy. If you don't mind. Just if you don't mind logging out and logging back in, and we'll bring you back in the conversation real quick. Okay.
Okay, does it sound okay now or not
No, it's
really?
still very, very choppy. I'm thinking that maybe if you just hop out, hop back in, it'll
Okay,
fix. Okay. I'll see you in a minute.
absolutely.
Thank you. Now, Matthew, while she's getting put back in and everything, tell me about your relationship with Jason. How did you say you knew him for 5 years and all that, and probably longer than that, of course. But you know, uh, what kind of guy? What kind of guy was Jason?
To be honest, Jason was patient. He was a patient person. When we would come home, he saw my children growing up, and he would just comment on, man, your boys are getting big. And, when we needed to take family pictures and stuff with my ailing grandfather, he would jump in and hold the camera. I was looking through my phone like, man, can I find any pictures with me and Jason? Then it hit me, it's like, man, he was taking the pictures. And that's just he's just a selfless person that doesn't deserve to be shot in the streets like a dog and laid there. He spent so much time helping other people, making sure people were fed, make sure they were comfortable, make sure they were good. And
Hmm.
beyond that, I'm also aware that he was also like a mentor for children, somebody who's positively impacted his community for folks and for people at the twilight of their life. So when I see headlines that talk about black men killed, that just is not enough depth. That's not enough depth for who he really was.
Yeah, it's frustrating because I understand that he was very active in his community. He was obviously doing as much as he could for the youth. He was he put a lot of time and effort into trying to rebuild his community, and trying to be a contributor to to the culture, and of course being a part of the Black Lives Matter movement and all that. But this whole thing is so
Mm-hmm.
odd to me, that this would be
Yeah.
that we're even sitting here questioning any of this. Now, I'm going to bring Felice back on here. Now, I
Hello.
hello, yeah, it's still really choppy, but we're just going to roll with it,
Okay.
okay? Um,
I think they're saying they can hear me loud and clear.
yeah, it's just very the sound is just very, very choppy. If that
Should
makes any
I?
sense, it might be your AirPods that you have in your ears. Maybe it might be that. I don't know. Um,
Hold on one moment.
sure, sure. Let me take her down real quick. But okay. So, obviously, as we already know here, the situation we already know about this supposed run-in, maybe a close call, right, with this F-150 truck that was driven by Jeffrey Hash, on paid leave, Lieutenant Jeffrey Hash. Let me just reiterate that one more again. Um, Now he is out here saying that
Right.
Jason Walker jumped on the hood of the car. Now, would you say, Matthew, would you say that is this out of character, or is this something that would make sense for Jason Walker to do? Jumping on the hood of an F-150, ripping off windshield wipers and beating the body of a car. Please.
It's completely out of character for Jason. He was an intelligent brother. Man, he's not. He's far that you could imagine from a thug. worst thing you could imagine from somebody who wants to cause trouble. Like he was just like a calm guy. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't out here in the streets like that either. You know what I mean? Like so it's just believable. I think that was the biggest. Like I feel in this country they try to kill black men and women. They try to kill our bodies, and then they try to kill our legacies just to protect their own uh, sense of consciousness or reputation. It's not gonna work for me. No.
Right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's the audio is what
You
it
hear me,
is. We're
Pascal?
just gonna
But
have to roll with it.
this,
Okay.
I'm sure, is what the Jews felt like.
Say that again, Matthew. What did you say? What did you say, Matthew?
I was saying that this is, I'm sure, what the Jews felt like in Nazi Germany when they started to see national violence, one on headlines, then it gets closer and closer to home. And this is too close to home. And
Yeah.
to see them try to take a brother's life, but then to paint him a certain type of way, that's criminal, and that's not acceptable. And then to take the murderer's story and pass it along national headlines to misguide the narrative, um, it's just so many levels of wrong going on right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, like I said, of course, what I find very interesting is
So I
how
appreciate
quick.
you, Derek,
Absolutely, no, anytime. What I
breaking
find very interesting about this situation is how quickly
people.
we will lean towards this. What we will lean toward is instantly the narrative of the police instead of actually getting all the facts, and maybe within the from the cops perspective to the eyewitnesses perspective, maybe somewhere in the middle we will find the truth, right? And what's so frustrating is that it just instantly, we just lean towards, oh well, because he's a cop, this must be the truth. And it's kind of like, no, it's not. That's not always the truth. Sometimes they're fibbing, sometimes they capping, sometimes they're making things up,
Right.
sometimes they're just trying to save their own ass, save face after the fact of doing something, a heinous crime. This man, until of course we get ballistics, until we get forensics, and get the coroner report and all that stuff, from what we understand and from what we know, this man was shot 4 times, allegedly 4 times in the back. When I look at something like that, if somebody is retreating, that does not look like somebody who is a threat.
And also
That looks
refused to tell where he shot him, which is a
like
threat.
get away. Go ahead, please, Matthew.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but the
You're okay.
officer also refused to tell where he shot Jason, and that is in itself obstruction of because he one dispatcher nor the health worker that was trying to assist. And it is their duty as law enforcement when they do shoot someone to still render aid, and he did not do that.
Yes, he did not. He did not give two damns about this man's life. As soon as he shot him, this is what I think. And obviously, this is just a theory, but he done mucked up, and he knew it. So instead of him actually going and administering aid, life-saving procedures to bring this man back to life and help this man, he runs to his phone and starts calling his boss because he's like, oh, damn, I done messed up and I need to get this narrative out here as soon as possible.
Yes.
Because everybody and their mom is going to think otherwise, and I need my boys to back me up, period. What are your thoughts on this, Felice?
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, we can. What are
Yes,
your thoughts on
I
this?
switched headphones. Okay. So yeah, what I was going to get into, just to tell you, because I wanted to bring some, I wrote some notes, so that's why I have my paper, but I wanted to tell people about him for real. Like, first of all, he comes from a loving home. He doesn't come from a broken home. He has a really good family. His father, he is a veteran, and his mother is actually a nurse. So keep in mind that taking care of people, it runs in the bloodline. And so is his aunt as well. And he actually, we were done with high school. We graduated together from 71st High School. And I went on because I was enrolled at a university, and he actually he went on to get his certification in the CATV and the fiber optics. And he liked school and everything, but he always had a different mindset. He was known as like being really intelligent, being like a nerd type. You wouldn't know this about him. You have to talk to him to know this. And he liked college, but he felt that his presence would be wasted if he spent the next, 8 to 10 years trying to get a PhD behind a desk. So he had other aspirations. He started his own landscaping business. He started his own car detailing business. And after he had been doing some thinking, he just felt as though the work that he was doing wasn't meaningful. He would always tell me that he just felt like either way, I'm only going to have as much money as I'm going to have. But he is really into God. Like, he's not just religious, he's into God on a level of like, there's a certain way you have to treat people, there's a certain way you have to be as your own personal character. So that's what made him think, I'm running businesses, which is great. I'm being productive, but I'm not really making the type of impact I want to make. So he had made a decision that he was going to not engage in any alcohol. This may seem like not really important to people, but he actually intentionally said, even if it's a sip of alcohol, I don't want it because I want my mind clear. He said, I want to just focus on my purpose. And he actually went and put in an application. You have to drop a business plan, and he drew up an entire business plan, and he had to go through a background check as well. So just to show you that he was not a criminal, and he did this so that he could get a contract with the VA hospital. This is a hospital in our area that takes care of our veterans, and so he was actually successful at getting that contract. And what they do, it's a program we have, and they'll place veterans with you. So he had a home, and he actually kind of modified his home. So he turned it into like, it's like I want to call it a nursing home, but like he's taking care of patients in the home. He had hospital beds and like a whole setup. And that's how he was able to get the rights to have my uncle, which is Matthew's grandfather, in his home. And he was actually one of his very first clients. We definitely trusted him. We were very grateful because if it wasn't for him, we didn't have anyone who could take care of him day in and day out, who could coordinate the nurse for us, who could coordinate the CNA for us. So he was more than just a caregiver. Like, he wanted to make this a business. He wanted to take on more clients. And recently, he had resubmitted another application within the last few months because he wanted to expand. He wanted to be able to take more VA contracts. So he got approved again so that he could do more, and he was going to buy another house so that he could house more patients. And it's just really sad how when the officer is the one who's in the wrong, keeping in mind that he is at his family's home. The initial news reports were making it seem like he was far away from his home because the home that they're referencing, that's where he has his patients at. That is his home. But the home where the murder occurred, that is his home. His son is in there. That's where his parents live, right off of Bingham Drive. So when he's out here outside, he's not outside randomly. He's allowed to be outside of his home. What is the officer doing at his house in the first place? On a street that has nothing but residential neighborhoods. There's a church called Aaron Lake Church that's nearby. and there's an abandoned pharmacy. That road, before they did the construction, it was just a straight pass through. People would use this as a backwards way to get to Hope Mills, which is like the connected city. But there's nothing there. There's no mall there. There's no big time shopping center there. There is nothing there. There's no post office. There's nothing that's making it to where you have to be there. You would be there if you're looking for trouble. And for him to stop the car and say he's crossing the street, if someone's crossing the street, then why don't you just stop, make sure that you don't hit him, and then he crosses like normal, and then you go about your way. What we're trying to figure out is why is there an interaction between that officer and Jason? Because Jason is going to spaz out and jump on somebody's car? No, because he has a son. And let me tell you, he's a father. And he's not just any type of father. The way they come out here and they talk about black men, he's the main caregiver of his son. His son was living with him. He was the one doing that. And he also has a stepson that they don't mention. He has a stepson from a previous relationship, and put that into perspective. That son wasn't with the mom. Son was with him too. He was out here taking care of his son, starting businesses, and he was always in the community mentoring the people, telling them that there's other ways for you to make it. Don't worry if you have charges or if you had gotten in trouble when you were younger. He tells the youth not to take that path if they can, but if you had already gotten in that situation, he didn't judge. Don't worry about that. I can show you how you can start the same business I'm starting. If you have a caring heart, you could get you a contract with the VA too, so that you could start your own home health business. He was actually partnered with another person at one point, so he was trying to expand and work with people. And all this foolishness, okay, the officer had no business at his house. That's just number one. Number two, his body is in the back of the car, and it's not in the front where he said that he was. Said that he was climbing the front of the car. His body is in the back. He's faced the opposite direction. So clearly, he's trying to get away. And another thing I don't like is how do people sit here and act like he was just fine? He was scared, okay? He's a grown man, but he was definitely scared. Yeah. This man had a gun on him. And the witnesses, yes, they say, and they're adamant that he was hit, whether you debate that or not. Something happened before the witnesses popped on scene that caused them to interact. It's very strange. We've all let a pedestrian cross in front of our car before, and something happened. All of a sudden, we have to pinpoint a key fact here, is that he's the one that's dead. So if you want to talk about who's aggressive is the person who has the gun, who's showing up at somebody's house to murder them. Because what else are you doing with a gun and being aggressive if not to murder somebody? What's the point of that? Yeah. And you murdered him in front of your wife, in front of your child. Talk about someone who's out of their mind.
Right. And that's the part that doesn't make any sense. The part, and I totally agree with you 110%, Feliz, that part, which is you're willing to pull your gun out. You have your wife and your child there, your daughter and your wife sitting in the car with you, and you have the audacity to stop everything you can to get out of the car and then start shooting this man. Now, here's the thing. I need to pull up the audio to this 911 call because I want us to kind of go through it one last time. I know I just did a video on this, but and of course, please guys go check it out. You'll hear my 2 cents on that. My own personal 2 cents on this here. But I wanted to pull up the 911 call here
And while you're
Listen.
pulling up that video, Mr. Pascal, I wanted to let everyone know, I understand we're used to George Floyd and we're used to hearing Trayvon Martin and all these names, but this is not a joke to the family. This is not just another case to the family. I hear people saying that, oh, we have another one. Let me tell you that the parents are devastated. Let me tell you that his son is distraught. His siblings are distraught. So we're taking this extremely seriously, and we are hurting over here. We hurt when we have to see that video, and he's laying on the ground, and he's leaking out like that, and no one is giving him aid, and he's scared. I see it, that he's still alive, and he's fighting for his life. And trust and believe his parents loved him, his siblings loved him, his son loved him, and no amount of money, it doesn't matter, they sue. It doesn't matter. It's not going to bring him back, and they want their son back. We all want Jason back. I'm calling him all the time. I know that he's not going to answer, but it just feels good, to call him and just to see if he would answer. And it's not a joke to us, It doesn't matter. He gets convicted or he doesn't get convicted. Like, we will never have our loved one back.
I can't express how much. Not only, I mean, I understand. No one can feel the pain that you both are going through. I mean, I know the world, the country is that are feeling that this is unjust, feel what you guys are feeling, but we could never fully body the weight of pain and grief that you and his loved ones are dealing with right now. All I can say is I send my condolences to you guys all day long, because I mean, from what you have described, beautifully said about Jason, he sounded like he was a good man, just trying to make his life happen and leave a legacy behind for his children, and just do the right thing, and he's human. No one is perfect, but he is human. And he's not just some villain, and he's not just some made up thing. So I do appreciate you coming out here and telling us a little bit more about Jason, humanizing him a little bit instead of him just being just a hashtag. We now know a little bit more that there's much more to Jason Walker than just this incident. But let's look at this, listen to this 911 call right quick, so we can take a listen to this. All right.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive.
Okay, that was not expected. Let's try that again, shall we?
January 8th, 2022, 14 hours, 18 minutes, 14 seconds.
Fayetteville 911, what's the address of the emergency?
Yes, ma'am, it's an emergency. I'm on Shenandoah and Bingham Drive. I just had a male jump on my vehicle and break my windshield. I just shot him.
You said you shot him?
Yes, he jumped on my car.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to get our help to you, okay? What's your name?
Yes, I'm a lieutenant with the Cumming County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, listen to me. Are you right beside the subject?
I am.
Okay, is he breathing?
He's gone, man.
You said
no, ma'am,
okay.
He's not. He's gone.
When did this happen?
Just now.
Okay.
I need units out here. There's people gathering.
Okay, all right, listen to me. What kind of vehicle are you in?
I am in a red Ford F-150. He has shattered my windshield.
Okay, I understand. What kind of vehicle was he in?
Just keep moving, ma'am. I'm the deputy sheriff. Come here. He jumped on my vehicle. I just had to shoot him.
I know I've paused this before right here at this point. Mm-hmm. I've paused this before on yesterday's video when I did this pop-up video reacting to this 911 call. But you're telling me that he jumped on the hood of your car. Now, first off, let me just say this. I didn't say this in the last video. An F-150, the hood of a 50